Hello everyone, my name is Brooch. You probably recognize me from my PSVR Rec Room tribute, in which I detail my experience with Rec Room on PSVR and how I preferred the game at that time during 2019 to 2020. After reading the comments on that video, it was clear to me that many people agreed with my criticisms of the game and how it's lost its identity and clear vision. Before we get too much farther into the video, I want to mention there's nothing wrong with liking the game in its current state, and at times, I still find myself really enjoying it as well. In this first episode of my new series, How I'd Fix Rec Room, I want to focus on general things I'd change. So today we're going to be focusing on the dorm room, the game's UI, weekly challenges, and more. Now if you've seen my PSVR Rec Room tribute video, I make a point to mention the old watch UI, and that's absolutely on purpose. Personally, this was when I realized that Rec Room was losing its personality. The watch UI was a big reason I liked the game so much in the first place. The tactile feeling of pushing down a button and watching it actually push down into the menu and feeling the controller vibrate was incredible. In 2022, however, Rec Room changed the watch UI to a 2D menu, and now in 2025, it has been updated and reworked into what we have now. In my opinion, this new watch UI is awful. It's clunky and slow, extremely irritating, and lags all the time. I don't know if this only happens for me, but sometimes when typing into the search bar and exiting the menu, the whole watch screen will shift, and it's so annoying. I believe the reason for this change stems from Rec Room expanding into the console and phone gaming markets. The original UI, in my opinion, would have worked fine on these devices, however I think they wanted a larger interface for these other ports of the game, since the original watch UI absolutely lends itself as a better fit to VR than it does for flat screen gaming. While on the topic of these 2D menus, I hate the new Maker Pen UI. The original from 2018 to 2020 with the buttons on top will always be superior in my opinion. The issue I mentioned earlier where the watch will shift after searching something up typically happens when trying to use my Maker Pen, and I hate it. So for my first fix, I wish that Rec Room would just add a setting in the Visuals tab that would revert both the Watch UI and Maker Pen UI to their original versions. Next, I want to talk about character customization. It's fine now, but god, it used to be so much cooler. So for those that don't know, the old system would feature all your clothes hovering around you, waiting for you to grab one and put them on, in which they'd appear on your in-game body. Now, the new system is a boring 2D menu on the mirror that you scroll through and select what you want to wear. However, I believe there is a much more interesting solution to this problem. I think that the scrollable 2D menu is much more practical, however I miss being able to put on the actual clothing. My solution is to have half the mirror be normal and the other half is a scrollable menu that it is now. However, every time you pick up another article of clothing, it will spawn in front of you as the actual model, allowing you to look at it from all angles once picked up, similar to when you unlock a new item in a quest, to which you will be able to put the item close to your body like you used to in the older versions of the game, and it will appear on your avatar. Next up, this is the big one. I'd reintroduce the weekly challenges. In 2024, Rec Room decided to remove the weekly challenge system. For those that don't know, every Wednesday a new item would come to your dorm in a glass display case labeled Weekly Challenge Reward, gifted to the player after completing 3 of 5 challenges assigned that week. These challenges can be found in the Challenge tab on the watch and were typically to complete a quest, get paintball kill streaks, or finish a game of disc golf under par, just to name a few. Rewards could stem from bow and sword skins to floaties and clothing, and paintball and laser weapon skins. They were a really fun event every week that would bring the community together and allow the players to earn a new free cosmetic. However, Rec Room's official reason for ending and removing them is ridiculous. Quote, only about 0.2% of our monthly active users complete weekly challenges. Our system for challenges was also built a long time ago. It's not really able to handle any changes or have any sort of upgrade. So let's break this down. Rec Room claims that only 0.2% of monthly users were completing the weeklies. One big issue I had with the weekly challenges was how often they'd reuse the weekly challenge reward for another weekly challenge just a few months later. Eventually, this led me to stop getting on and stop getting my hopes up for earning a new item every Wednesday. Why get on and spend an hour and a half to earn the same item I already had? For those curious, I believe you would earn a random 4-star box if you already had the weekly, and if you already had every 4-star item, I believe you would be rewarded with tokens, however I'm not 100% sure on that. I'd like to see Rec Room revamp the challenges on their end, allowing them to add more challenges to newer RROs, keeping the original challenges like hit streaks in paintball or finishing golden trophy or crimson, but adding new ones like eliminate 15 total players in showdown, finishing a game of stunt runner, finishing races of rec rally, or completing missions in run the block. Notice how I'm selecting RROs that are consistently near the bottom of the RROs game tab. For those of you that don't know, this list shows an order of play count, most players at the top and least at the bottom. So if you love Rec Rally or Stunt Runner, but can't find games that often, then a weekly revamp could help bring these games back to life more often. Now Rec Room also stated in the same post referring to the challenges, quote, they can get pretty repetitive after a while, and they're also only RRO focused. Ideally, we'd like to let you complete challenges while playing whatever you're interested in, and make the system more engaging overall. This is a great point. Some players may not want to play RROs to earn those weekly rewards. Well, how about accommodating them too then? Why not add challenges like spend 30 minutes playing community games or visiting 5 different community maps for 5 minutes apiece? Here's what I would do. I'd have 10 total weekly challenges and only require the player to complete 5 of the challenges to earn the weekly reward. And if you finish all 10 challenges, you earn an additional 500 tokens. But what if you already have this week's weekly? I feel like getting a random 4-star box is a good alternative. Personally, I'd like to see Rec Room aim to have 3 new skins and 2 re-releases each month. For the hell of it, let's say you complete all the weekly rewards for this month. I think you should be given a bonus reward. Personally, I'd like to see an exclusive Maker Pen skin here. Let's say the month is June and we are starting summer. 4 weekly challenges rewarding a beach basketball skin or a new water sword skin, etc. After finishing all of those, you would be gifted a beach-themed Maker Pen. This would help reinforce old players who may already have the basketball skin to re-earn it, to get the new Maker Pen skin, as well as draw in new players to the challenge. Additionally, I'd make more of an effort to introduce the weekly system to players instead of it just changing in your dorm room, and the players finding the challenges in their watch. We're nearly done, but I want to touch on orientation challenges. For those that don't know, these challenges were designed to reward the player for exploring new games in Rec Room with tokens but were removed. If I had to guess why, I'd assume this feature was old, similarly to the weekly system, hard to update, and like the weekly system, not profitable. If I could, I'd re-add orientation challenges. Challenges like completing each quest once, and then completing each quest with the highest rank. Get 100 total eliminations in paintball, complete 10 missions and run the block, and finish 10 races in Rec Rally. Again, in an attempt to help boost player counts in older games, with rewards ranging from 10 to 100 tokens upon completion. I know when I first started playing, I really enjoyed doing the orientation challenges, even though at times they were quite buggy. Lastly, to end us off, let's rapid fire through some other things I'd like to see changed in the game. First of which would be ads on the home screen of your watch and in the mirror of your dorm room. These are ridiculous and should only be featured in the shop. Next, I'd replace the door in your dorm room with the door to the rec center. Why do I need a door in my dorm that opens the play menu of my watch? Hello everyone, that audio was recorded the first week of December. Since that was recorded, however, they've switched the door back to taking you to the rec center. Now I do want to mention, you can go to your settings, experience, then scroll to dorm room, where you can select to revert the door back to opening to the watch or to the rec center. I think it would be cool if you could search all the rooms in the game and select one of these for the location of the door to lead. Lastly, if it was up to me, the bulletin board in the dorm would also be changed back to its 3D menu because the current 2D one looks horrible and I forgot to mention it earlier. I plan on this being a short series, so please leave any suggestions down below in the comments. The next episode I do will be over quests and improvements I believe the developers should add to them. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know, as well as subscribing and leaving a like. Again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.